Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be reviewing a brand new company in clean beauty called Exa Beauty. Exa only has two products out right now. I think their primer and their foundation. I know most people are probably watching this video for the foundation, but I did get both products just to see how the foundation performs with its own primer. And the primer claims to be a smoothing, like blurring primer, which I haven't really found in clean beauty yet. So I'm super excited to do this. This video is going to be a wear test, as the title suggests. I am going to be wearing it for as long as I possibly can today, probably about 8 hours, at least 8 hours. So if you are curious about these products or Exa as a brand, much like I am, then stay tuned because we are going to be putting these products to the test right now. Okay, so I already put something on my lips. I used the Pacifica Color Quench Lip Tint. This is in the shade Blood Orange. I probably won't keep this on, it's just what I had closest to me. But I am one of those people that really likes to put lip balm on at the beginning of a look because I want it to like soak into the lips. We're going to start with the Jumpstart Smoothing Primer. This is what the actual packaging looks like. And it has a little pump. I love this like gray navy charcoal look. I think it looks really, really cool. I like the packaging a whole bunch. And then on the actual primer packaging, it says soothing cocoa fruit powder and free radical fighting fatty acids deliver a breakthrough blurring effect that creates a canvas of possibility for any skin tone. It says that it should have a semi-matte finish for all skin types. I almost didn't get the primer with this foundation because the foundation is what I was really, really excited about, and I know what a lot of you are probably really looking forward to seeing, and we will get to that, I promise. But the primer was interesting because it said a smoothing primer, and the word smoothing is what really got me. I haven't found a clean beauty smoothing primer that actually does what it says it's gonna do. So I'm just gonna get right into it. Okay, it's coming out in like tiny little spurts. Hold on a second. Well, that's not super encouraging when it comes to the actual pump of these products. I know the foundation has a pump too, but I have this on my fingers. It was like a nice pinky hue when it came out, and I'm just going to press this into the areas that I really think I need some blurring. I used to put primers all over my face, like work them in like a lotion, and I do think that that works fine, but as I mature in my makeup journey, I really like putting them just like in the center of the face because that's where I think needs the most coverage. Okay, so granted, I did just apply it and I am gonna let this soak in a little bit, but I'd say that is pretty darn blurring. I can actually feel like the dewiness in it, but the nice thing is it's not tacky. It dries down really beautifully. This might be a new favorite for me. But just to give it a fair chance, I'm gonna let this soak in for like 3 to 5 minutes really fast off camera, and then I'll come back so we can actually do the foundation application. Well, I'm back. We're gonna take a quick intermission just to tell you about what happened to this sponge here. Can you see them? Can you see the bite marks? Before sitting down to film today, I actually, you know, like pre-dampened this sponge and had it sitting next to me. And apparently just in the time that I was filming that primer part application, I didn't even notice, but Saki came by, Socks, one of my cats, Saki came by and stole it. But not only did he steal it, he dunked it in his water dish and then rolled it around on the floor. Just had to take a minute to go dampen a new sponge. You're so sneaky. I don't know how you did that. It was literally right next to me. All right, now we're ready for the foundation application. This foundation is kind of the most exciting part, I think, of this video, even though I was really excited about the primer, and I think I'm looking really glowy and nice, just hydrated. The foundation, though, is sold on Credo. I got it in the shade Lydia, which is also shade like 400, the number. And it's really exciting because it is probably the first clean beauty foundation. The only other I can think of is the Alima Pure Loose Powder Foundation that is so inclusive in its shade range. So this is the shade I got. I'm a little worried about that shade match. I mean, I'm tan, but it does boast 43 shades and they're really nicely chosen. Like I actually went onto the website and just looked at what shades they decided to include in that range, and I think they did a pretty darn good job. So this is what the foundation actually looks like. It's got this Exa logo again. It's completely glass, and then it has this cap and a pump still. I hope this pump is a little better than the one on the primer. So this is called their High Fidelity Semi Matte Satin Foundation. It says on the back that protective microalgae actives, soothing maki berry and hydrating hyaluronic acid team up with advanced pigment technology to wear light and last long. It says it has a buildable finish for all skin types, ages, and people. I don't know if I mentioned already, but everything from this brand is cruelty-free, vegan, gluten-free, and dermatologist approved. I really like how they kind of play between like colorful, fun, bold packaging that could almost be like youthful, but also making it look like modern and sleek. I just like the appeal of this brand overall. So I am gonna get some of this on the back of my hand. Let's see if it won't. Oh, that's good. I'm gonna do 2 pumps. It's looking a little lighter outside of there, so it might be pretty good. What I figured I would do, and I'm gonna get you a little closer maybe, just a bit, is go in with a sponge first on one side to show you guys what that looks like, and then go in with a brush on the other side. I'm gonna kind of shear it out too, I think, at first, just because I want to see how little product I can use and still get a nice effect. Something kind of interesting that I read on their website is that they chose the name Exa because it is the prefix for the number 10 to the power 18. It was funny to read on their website because I was like, 10 to the 18th power, like who chooses that? I think the whole idea behind it is that it's like supposed to represent the infinite amount of people that are represented in the brand, which I actually think is really, really cool. It's just, it's funny. It's very clear that like, and I mean, brands do this all the time, but it was just very clear that they chose something that sounded cool, that was kind of random, that they just found somewhere, you know? Okay, this is looking absolutely beautiful. I can't get you a whole lot closer, but I mean, do you see that finish? It is a little bit dewy. I mean, you can see where the light is catching it on the cheekbone, but this is the side that's not covered versus this, and this looks very skin-like. Looks really, really beautiful. Okay, so I gave it a little bit of time to dry down on the sponge side since I did use like a damp method of application, but this is what we're looking like on this side versus nothing. Something I didn't expect to do, but just kind of felt natural, is that I ended up using all of that 2 pumps that was on the back of my hand just on the sponge side. That's normal. I mean, a sponge usually eats some of the product, right? I think on the brush side, I'm gonna try to just use 1 pump. So we'll do 1. The good news is the pump on the actual foundation is working a lot better. And then I'm gonna use this brush here, just kind of a slanted, dense brush, and I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of that product and start buffing. Okay, so the brush side is done. I will say that the only big difference that I see is that on the brush side, it seems like the pigment is clinging a little bit to like the little bumps and ridges I just naturally have underneath my eye, versus over here, I think on the sponge side, they melted in a little bit better, the pigment did. But I did have a couple more imperfections on this side of my face that I feel like it just blurred over really nicely. It didn't cover them up like a full coverage, but I feel like it just created a really beautiful, healthy glow. I feel like even when I'm touching it and I've given it a minute to dry down at this point, it still feels hydrating. It almost feels not tacky, but like I can kind of tell it's there. So what I'm gonna do for this wear test is I'm gonna step away, I'm gonna apply my other makeup, and then I'll come back and show you guys what products I used, kind of the finished look with everything on top of this foundation, and then we'll hop into our wear test. I'm gonna go put on my full face of makeup that I'm gonna be wearing for the day. I'll come back before I actually start the wear test to update you guys and show you what time it is when we're actually starting the wear test, and then we'll get started with the day. All right, guys. I had to stop. I've only put on concealer at this point, but can you see how this is breaking up around my nose already? I wanted this foundation to be like the next best thing. It's looking really, really great down on my cheeks and my face. It's still looking really nice and how I would want a foundation to look, but if I can't get it to stay on my nose, that's gonna be a deal breaker. I do have some dry patches on my nose, but I've never, I mean, not never, but my normal foundations that I use usually do not do this. So I just thought I would give you that update. I'm gonna go put on the rest of my face. All right, guys, so the actual makeup look is finished. I think maybe the issue that we were having on the nose was that the concealer that I chose didn't morph well with this foundation formulation. I don't know for sure that that's the case, but what I did end up doing after applying all of my makeup was putting just a tiny bit of the foundation on the back of my hand and then taking a little bit with the sponge and just dabbing again around the nose, being really careful to get all the areas that were kind of breaking up. I think it's looking better now. I think it might have just been because I had a couple issues once I started applying concealer. I think we're looking pretty good now. I guess we'll see if it really is this foundation that breaks up, because as I start moving around the day, I think we'll get that answer. But right now, I think the coverage of this is looking absolutely stunning. This is where we're at. I don't have my phone on me because it's charging. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 11:30 a.m.
All right, so the time is exactly 11:30 a.m. I'm going to be wearing this for as long as I can today, just based on what I do in a normal day. Today, I don't actually have to go to my day job, so I'll probably be doing some filming and editing. It's really cloudy outside. We already went on a walk, but we might try to fit another one in if it doesn't rain too soon. I also have 1 or 2 errands that I do have to run, so maybe I'll run those today. I'll try to do something outside the house at some point to really give this a wear test, but I'm loving how it's looking right now, guys. Even though I'm not so sure about how it was looking around the nose at first, I have high hopes for this. I'm maintaining my high hopes, and I will see you guys in a couple hours for a midday check-in. Hey guys, so it is about 2:30. I haven't done much so far today. I watched some Hannah Montana on Disney Plus. I made some lunch, pet my cats. I figured this would be a good time to get in front of some natural light and that you guys really see what we're working with here. So let's start on this side. So I think I was right about the concealer being the issue, because although you can see some pigmentation issues around the nose here, that's pretty common for me. I just have really dry skin on the sides of my nose, especially this side. So the foundation is really doing everything it can, but after I actually applied some more of the foundation on top, I think I realized that that is what the issue was. But otherwise, you can see the skin is looking nice and even, nothing cakey. We are not oily at all so far. I think this is holding up really, really well. I guess I will go about the rest of my day, hopefully be a little more productive, and then I will see you guys at the final check-in at the end of the day. All right, guys, so it has been just about 8 hours now since I put this face of makeup on, and I have some thoughts. I did actually try to put myself in situations that would test it a little bit. I went on a walk earlier, and it's actually very, very humid here right now. I also made some really spicy food for dinner, and so my entire sinus area was cleared and my eyes were watering and my nose was running. That's about as active as I can think to be on a quarantine day when I don't actually have to go to work. But let me get you in closer now to really show you what we're working with. So the nose did break up a little bit, and I watched the video back that I filmed in the middle of the day today, and I noticed that on the camera it looks a little bit worse than it does in person. Just looking in a mirror, it doesn't look like it's broken up too much. It still looks kind of just like a wash of color. You can just see the flecks where it was kind of irritated underneath. Just keep that in mind. But I do have some breaking up still, but frankly I think it actually clung, the pigment itself, pretty well to the skin that isn't pulling up, if that makes sense. I mean, I know that I should just fault the foundation or any makeup product for clinging to dry patches, but my nose, especially around here, is so dry and it's prone to eczema dry skin, and so I kind of hate faulting any product for that, just because that's just it. What makeup is gonna fix that? Nothing. But aside from that, this is so beautiful. I mean, at first when I thought that maybe it was having some patchy issues, I was worried, but I was so wrong. I mean, I think my skin still looks almost as good as it did when I put it on. I was gonna tell you guys it's worth the money, but I actually don't remember exactly how much this was. Hold on a second. Okay, so this is $38, the foundation. So really, in terms of clean beauty, that's not crazy expensive. It's relatively average, but I do think that's an expensive foundation. But I think it would be worth your money still. And the reason I say that with confidence is that I can't imagine too many situations in which this foundation would fail your expectations. Everyone's different when it comes to foundation, right? So some people like a really light coverage foundation, some people like it to be really full coverage, some people like hydrating, some people like matte, but the nice thing about this is since it's satin, I think anyone could make it work for them when it comes to finish. If you like really matte, then you can powder it down a little bit more. If you'd like really dewy, then you can spray it down and pat it in with a sponge, and I think you're still gonna get that dewy effect, but it's comfortable and it wears well. I mean, I think my skin still looks great. Also, at the beginning I mentioned that I thought that this was gonna be too dark for me, and it ended up being perfect. I mean, one of the best shade matches I have ever gotten, which is uber exciting to me. I also think that that's more likely when you have a shade range of 43 different shades. It was really easy for me to like hone in on, boom, that's the shade that's gonna work for me when I had so many different options. I understand that sometimes having too many options is a bad thing, and I think if I was choosing out of like 100 shades, that might be a little different. It's really when shade ranges are so small that I have to like figure out which one is gonna be closest, but I know they're not gonna be perfect. Like, that's when I spend the most time racking my brain trying to figure out what I should get. The description of this on the website made me think it was gonna be pretty darn close to perfect, and it is, dare I say, perfect. All right, guys, that's it for this wear test. Conclusion is, I think it might be worth your money. If you are curious about it and after seeing how it performed on my face, you think it could do really well on yours, this is probably one of the only foundations in clean beauty that I would say is actually worth its price point. Of course, I've only tried it once, but based on first impressions, that's how I'm feeling right now. Of course, stay tuned for future videos because I'm gonna be testing it out quite a bit more, and I'll tell you guys how I feel if anything changes. Thanks for watching this one, guys. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button before you leave, and I will see you in the next video.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.